Call this beat Will Smith, cause it slaps hard. Hear it not when I pull up on your boulevard.
Let's answer this guy's question. So this guy asked, are there any ways for men to hedge against false allegations other than looking for red flags indicating mental instability? How common or prevalent is it to encounter false allegations? Well, to the second one, there's been a lot of stories as of late that have come out whereby, you know, women have said, this guy did something to me. And then you find out months later, after his life's been ruined, that that did not actually happen. But this speaks to a few things, right? So for one, in a lot of those cases, what happens is the guy will purposely like hook up with the girl, pump her and dump her, maybe hook her up a few times and then be like, I'm out of here, right? And as guys, we think, oh, well, she'll be fine with it. She'll get over this and that. But, you know, for us, we're going inside a woman. They're letting us into them. So us hooking up with them affects them more than even they possibly realize. And so you figure a woman has basically opened herself up to trust you enough to allow you to go inside of her, and then you just scoot away. That's going to rub a lot of women the wrong way, and it can make them go a bit crazy. Even women that are relatively sane, that think like they think the world of guys, they think guys are absolutely great, and then you come along, hook up a couple of times, then skedaddle. Now she's like, what the freak? Like, I was connecting with him. I was bonding with him, and I don't like how this feels. He just left me on red. He's not answering my calls anymore, and he just tried to get out of there. You know what? This doesn't feel good. And because now I feel bad, I want him to feel the same way that he's making me feel right now. And that can cause an otherwise sane woman to want to retaliate. So this is why on our end of things, I say, not that I'm against hookup culture, but I will say you err better only trying to hook up with women that you're actively trying to actually get with, as opposed to just going on a hump and dump spree. Like, you can do that, but there are going to be much more consequences and more women's feelings hurt when you're going that route versus you hook up with a girl that you're actually trying to get with, and then it just doesn't work out. Even if she's butthurt by it, at least it won't be like she feels like you're using her. When women feel like they're being used for their bodies, that's when you're going to come against the most women that are going to try to retaliate against you. Now, aside from those women, put those to the side over here, when you are in the dating phase, you should be taking your time. You should be going out on dates, and you should be asking all the questions. Asking questions like, hey, so you don't have to necessarily ask, like, for example, like, how many dudes have you messed with in the past? Like, that's not really something you need to ask that's this early on. But you could say things like, so tell me about your last relationship, or like, what, you know, you're still single now, like what happened in those previous relationships. Get those stories. Get stories about how she dealt with her dad, if her dad's in her life, if they had a good relationship or not. Because I'll tell you right now, women that have had bad relationships with their fathers or see them in a negative light, that's going to become your issue. Because if she doesn't see the first man in her life as a positive influence or had a good interaction with him, then there's going to be some level of, I'll say, animosity that she has towards men in general. And subconsciously, she may be trying to get back at her father through you. And so if you come across those women where they're saying, oh yeah, I don't really talk to my dad, or oh, we have such a tumultuous relationship, be on the lookout. I'll say this. I have yet to date a woman that had a bad relationship with her dad that ended in good things. So that's really a really high tail way to tell, is if she's telling you bad stories about either her dad or just has negative stories about men in general, or honestly, this is, I will say this, in the age of Kevin Samuels, I will say this, that if you talk to your girl about Kevin Samuels and she's not a fan, do not date her. Because even if Kevin's delivery wasn't always the best in terms of, like, he wasn't always sounding the nicest, but his advice was very much solid. If you're dating a woman that wasn't able to get past the delivery and see that he actually had a point and that he had some good points to talk about, that's really a good way to test if she's going to be good for the long run. Because women that don't understand that men deliver things differently to men, and then in Kevin's case, when we were going over to his space to try to ask questions from a guy that was giving relationship advice to a guy in the way that guys would give relationship advice. So women couldn't take that. So some women could. They would be like, okay, I get his delivery is kind of harsh, but ultimately the advice he's giving actually is solid. And so I'm going to listen to it. And look, it changed my life. Those women, date them. Because if they get Kevin, then that means that they understand that men think differently, and they're not going to judge a guy and his information based on how he's delivering it. And I tell women friends of mine that, like, look, I've given advice to women in a nicer tone than Kevin did, and they were still like, I don't want to hear that, or that's what. So it's like, was it the information or was it the delivery? more often than not, it's actually information. And if women can't take the information about how other women are or how you see dating as a guy, if they're taking that insultingly, then what's going to happen is you're going to date a woman and then you're going to get into an argument of some kind and she's going to be like, well, this is all your fault or you this, net, whatever. And then when you try to explain to her how men think and function, you're going to get met with, oh my God, you're such a misogynist and blah, blah, blah. Well, those women are also going to be prone to think that everything that happens in the relationship badly is also your fault. And that's going to lead to her feeling like anything she does in retaliation for what she feels you did wrong to her is perfectly acceptable. And so, yeah, get that out as early as you possibly can, because I'm telling you, guy, if you don't, you're going to face major troubles a lot later. So hopefully that answers your question.
You's a bad boy, but you can't stop, won't stop. You a high earning, high value, high class man. You a high earning, high value, high class man. You a high earning, high value, high class man. You a high class man. You a high class man. You a high earning, high value, high class.